Anyway. There's the straight lines and the speckled burn signature. Of course, all the bark is coming off of it for the reasons I've already stated. And I'm going to show you a lot more of these, where you can see it's clearly burnt. On the inside of each one of these circles, it's more burnt than everything around it. And I'm going to show you so many more cases of that. There we go, that's the one I was hoping would come in focus. This one here, you can see it right there. So that's because it's coming out of those branches. From within each one of those branches, each one of those little dots was a knot of its own. That's what kind of like what a knot is, from what I gather. It's like where one of these branches was going to reach out and create a new branch. And it sizzles those branches down to 0. And this burn signature here is again all indicative of EMF fire, electromagnetic frequency from the solar plasma through the solar magnetic amplification causative configurator. That's one of the directed energy weapon systems they use, along with high altitude meteorological manipulation effects research, HAMMER and SMAC, SMACC and HAMMER, HAMMER, and the infamous HARP, high altitude meteorological research, auroral research project. The one in Alaska that everyone knows about. Well, that was a long time ago. They've come a long way, baby. Again, all the same signatures, and when you peel this bark back, the wood underneath is going to have wavy lines and grains, and it's going to be the coolest looking thing you ever saw. If I can get it'll be cool. Hey, I'm trying to make lemonade out of these lemons, okay? Right here you get a good example of the speckled pattern of the burn signature, along with the circles, but mostly such a speckled pattern. It's just clear fire doesn't do that. Unburned right down the middle, burned on both sides. The burn, unburn lines are everywhere. Here's maybe like a chunk that fell off. So, right here, once you wash that up and lacquer it, the lines that it produces, the stain that it leaves is deep within the wood sometimes. It's really cool after effect. So, obviously there's plenty of product. This is now Provo Canyon. The other place I'm getting it from is Spanish Fort Canyon, and an offshoot of that, a little further up. So that's 3 different canyons now. It's not going away. It's not an isolated incident. It's the new normal, as Governor Moonbeam Brown? Or no, it was the new guy. No, it was Brown. The new abnormal. Everywhere. Plasma, plasma everywhere. Not a directed energy weapon in sight. Just ask me his new pair of glasses. Richie from Boston, his recent one. He said there's heavy metal plasma floating in the air. He's throwing in the word salad, adding plasma here and plasma there. in order that he can jump in on the conversation and mislead a certain percentage of the people as if he knows what he's talking about. He also said, I don't believe in science, whatever, at all, whatsoever, in one of his recent episodes. I'm gonna just start a series of his episodes and the one-liners, the single lines he slips in, like, I'm an idiot and I have no memory and I've inhaled too much aluminum. He has repeated that multiple times. He has given a few one-liners that he must insert into his shtick, and they stick out like a sore thumb. And I'm gonna highlight them for you every week, because they come to me. I don't go looking for them. Just like this video, I wasn't even looking for this. Prometheus decided, you're on duty today. Not a day off, day on duty, and that's all good with me. Because anything less is a waste of time. Like me, was talking about how you can't go to work once you know the truth. Well, sure you can. You can double down and get to work even harder now that you know the truth. Okay, let me take you up the hill. But one thing I wanted to add before I take off from here is that my idea is to get these pieces and take a small video where they come from as you pick them up, to show the person that this piece came from this place. It'll even have a geo timestamp to show the exact GPS location where you picked it up. Before it got to their hands, you give them a little bit of the process you put it through with the water and the scrubby and the lacquer, and every science class across America should want one of these. These are a study in electricity and plasma. Or just for your personal keepsake, because you know you're going through the transition of not a lifetime, an eon. This isn't a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Once-in-a-lifetime implies everyone goes through it once in their life, like marriage and having kids. This is a once-in-an-eon experience, once-in-an-era. And it is the end of an era and a transition period, and that is why these are the headstones for humanity that you can hold in your hands and know it's never going to be the same. It's not going to go back to the way it used to be. That's what I've explained these are good for, getting you through the 5 phases of the Elizabeth Kubler-Ross phases of grief, when you lose a loved one. Your paradigm, the world as you knew it, it's over, it's gone. This is the end of our elaborate plans, my friend. And those who don't accept it are going to be putty in the hands of those who do know what's going on. So, we ought to get to work grabbing as many of these as we can, particularly the small ones. They don't have to be the big ones. That's what I've noticed. For a teaching tool, it's easier to just get the small ones. And I'll show you some really cool small ones here in a while. Just get the small ones. That way you can mail them out easily. Cut them, lacquer them, mail them in a massive amount for mass distribution, for the mass awakening that needs to happen massively quick like. Because in that sense, Mia's new pair of glasses is right. Nothing else matters. Once you understand what's going on and you see it too, you'll suddenly invest everything you've got into buying these little lacquered pieces and sending them out to all your friends and family so you're not alone. Because enlightenment loves company too. And you can't unknow something you know. Holding one of these pieces in your hands forces you to know something you would otherwise reject. So you mail these out to 9 of your family members, these lacquered up pieces I've got at home, because there's one in every family. And if you're watching these videos, you're that one. So you mail these out to your other 9 family members, and next Christmas, sitting around the dinner table, they won't be sniggering and laughing. They'll be asking you, so what do you think, what do you know? And you'll be at a loss to tell them, but they'll be a changed person, that's for sure. You can't hold this in your hand and maintain your denial. It's like the widow receiving the coffin, the flag-draped coffin. She goes through that phase of denial and negotiation, thinking maybe someday he'll come back and it'll all go back to the way it was, and goes on with depression, anger, depression, and acceptance. And then she gets much healthier and she can move on with a fruitful, productive life. Until then, she's stuck in denial. So, I have 3 canyons full of plasma-fired pieces of the Promethean Forest. This is clearly a sign that was put here by somebody who sees what I can see. That's the tree this log came from. Someone drug it over here and put it right here. And this ain't a pine tree, but you know what else they put right here? Is this piece. You see the burnt, unburnt as you go up? It's kind of hard for me to see through the shadow and the glare and the focus. Right here it stops. It goes from burnt to unburnt.